The Red Room trained international super spy, Black Widow, is a ranged sniper character in Marvel Rivals. She's pretty much the textbook definition of sniper. She's got that sniper scope view that gives her pinpoint accuracy on headshots, and she's able to take targets out from a very far distance away. Now, for the sake of game health, they made sure that she could not get an insta-kill headshot with one of these shots to avoid her being an absolute nightmare in the top ranks of play. That's led players to be generally dissatisfied with her because the long time between her attacks and unreliable headshot damage has resulted in a character that a lot of players struggle to be effective with. If you want to become good at Black Widow, you're going to have to spend a lot of time on her and have good understanding of how to use her and how to position yourself accordingly. And it's probably going to be a little bit easier to master the game on a different style of character instead of putting all that time in Black Widow. But if you want to learn Black Widow, let's check out what she does. Now, if you find at any point in this video that it's been useful, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Her basic attack switches between Baton Strike, which is a 3-strike melee attack with her 2 devastating batons. This will do a triple hit and then go back to the start of the rotation. It doesn't do any particularly special damage. It's about the same damage as most characters' melee strike, but it is a little bit faster combo than a lot of players have. For the most part, you're only really going to be using these if you absolutely get into trouble and you can't get your sniper scope onto a target, but it's almost always going to be better to practice and train hitting targets in close range with your gun rather than trying to make work of these batons. The Red Room rifle is your alternate option for a basic attack. When you switch over to that, you become a ranged sniper. Your primary fire with this gun is going to be a non-scope shot that deals a decent chunk of damage. It takes just over 3 shots to be able to take out a target with body shots with this gun. The gun has 15 ammunition, but also has a rechamber between each shot. So when you fire, there is quite a delay before you're able to shoot the next shot. Once you've shot all of your shots, you must then begin a full reload, which takes quite a bit longer. Past 5 meters, you begin having damage fall off with this basic fire, and the damage fall off becomes pretty significant past 25 meters, switching you from 3 shots up to 5 shots to take out a target. This attack does deal the critical strike headshots, so you can take out a target quite a bit faster if you're able to land it as headshots, but ideally, the hip fire is not what you're going to be going for. If you hold down alternate fire with the Red Room rifle, you'll enter into sniper view. This gives you a zoomed in enhanced view of your target, but it also completely removes the damage fall off of the rifle. So it doesn't matter how far you are away from the target, you're going to deal the maximum damage that the gun can do with a single shot. This is a guaranteed 2-shot headshot onto every target that is not a tank. However, there's a significant delay between each of the shots, which makes it so there's a lot of time for the target to get out of your view or to receive healing before the secondary fire comes. What a lot of Black Widows are going to find when they're playing the character is that they are trying to hit out of position backhand targets with a quick blast to take them out, and they're unsuccessful to get the kill, even if they land that headshot. And before they're able to get their secondary fire off, the target has managed to slip away from them. What has to change as you learn Black Widow is instead of trying to hit targets nobody else has hit, you try and wait for a single attack to land on a target that's in a vulnerable position, and follow that single attack up with an immediate headshot, which will get you the kill. If they can deal even a sliver of health damage to a backliner, and you're able to follow that up with a headshot, you're going to get your kill and be able to take out the target. So it's a little bit more patience and waiting than it is for the average sniper in other games that are similar to this. You're going to have to be waiting for somebody else to deal that initial burst of damage and then to take that target out. Or you're peppering targets, leaving them soft, and hoping another player follows that up with their damage. As I said with the Red Room rifle, it's really good to get to the point that you are really good at hip firing this without going into the scope mode when there's a target on top of you. If you can land this as a quick shot when an enemy player has managed to get in close, you're going to do so much more damage to them than if you were to try to switch over to baton mode and slap them down. Your other option when targets get in close to you is your E ability. Edge Dancer is a kick move that she does in front of her that knocks targets away. When you hit a target with this, it's going to knock them a short distance away, and you can reactivate the move within 5 seconds to follow it up with a separate kick and stun. This leads her to one of her strongest combos onto targets that have gotten onto her, which is a quick double kick into headshot before they hit the ground, taking out a target immediately. Once you get practice at this, you're going to be really good at taking out targets that have managed to get on top of you. Black Widow being a super soldier, she's able to dash around the battlefield similar to Captain America. Her shift ability, Fleet Foot, allows her to run around relatively quickly. She'll have a stamina bar that will slowly deplete while she's running, and it'll give her a burst of movement speed as long as she retains stamina. When the stamina runs out, she'll lose that burst and go back to her normal speed. While running quickly, you also now have a super jump. Your jump will let you raise up quite a distance higher than usual. Her ultimate ability, Electroplasma Explosion, is a big charge up of her Red Room rifle. Activating it, you enter into a semi-scope mode. You can hold down your basic attack to charge it up, and then unleash a devastating attack with it. This is going to deal a big burst of damage to the target, as well as leave all these little red marks on the ground. Any player that touches the red marks will receive a small amount of damage and be slowed. This creates a field of unsafety, as well as an option for you to get much easier headshots on targets. If you know the enemy team is coming through a particular choke point, you can hold and charge up this shot until they come into line of sight, firing it off into the choke point, blasting them, and applying a slow through them. As they're trying to now pour through the choke point with the slow on them, your team should be able to wipe them up, and you should be able to get a couple of quick headshots, wiping out targets that are now vulnerable. So if you enter into the ultimate mode and you just tap, you're going to unleash a very small attack that doesn't do too much damage and creates a small field. Where if you charge it up to full, the damage output of the attack is going to be much higher, and you're going to have a much larger field of slows that the enemy team has to deal with. Black Widow receives a team up from Hawkeye. Whenever Hawkeye's in the game, Black Widow gets the new ability, Super Sensory Hunt. When activated, all enemies nearby are going to begin leaving purple illusionary trails of themselves, similar to Hawkeye's ultimate. Black Widow is able to shoot these ghostly versions to deal damage to the target, even if she doesn't hit the target directly. These ghostly images cannot be headshots, so you're going to be aiming for scoped body shots with this, and quick body shots that make it so that even if the target moves out of your line of sight, there's still ghosts that you can shoot to be able to take them out. If you manage to hit both a ghost and a target with an ability, you'll deal both instances of damage to the target. This becomes a really powerful combo, which is using your Hawkeye team up and then activating your ultimate. Charging it up and shooting it into the pile of ghosts is going to be an instant one-shot mechanic even onto tanks, because the explosion of the ultimate hits each of the different ghosts and the primary target, spreading the damage across all of them. The problem with this team up is that two snipers, Hawkeye and Black Widow, on the same team isn't usually that effective. You want some kind of sustained damage output, and these two just don't give that. You pretty much have to run that with the 3 DPS squad, which isn't the ideal team composition. In-game, when playing Black Widow, you need to be thinking of two things. You need to know your vantage point and how you're going to be able to access the enemy team. You also need to know what your escape options are, as well as any flanking routes enemies might have to get on top of you. You need to know where is safe and constantly be ready to abandon your current position. Be ready to enter into your sniper view to deal your damage, but be constantly in your regular view for better movement and better visual range. When you know a target's coming into your line of sight, be ready to quickly enter into scope mode and unleash an attack on where they're coming from. Predict their movement and get ready for your cursor to be where they're going to end up. As soon as they land in that position, unleash the attack, aiming for that headshot angle. Then release the scope and quickly assess. Did the enemy team realize where you're at? Has there been a change in their attention towards you? If not, you might be able to stay in the current position and then continue unleashing attacks. If they have gotten attention on you, you might want to begin moving and prepare to enter into a different angle. A single effective shot for Black Widow is significant, which means you can have less time between shots to make sure you land the right ones. Constantly firing towards the enemy team and not hitting all those shots usually isn't going to be that valuable. Have your abilities ready to be able to do a quick kick follow-up and then possibly either escape or follow it up with a secondary kick and shot to take the target down. If Black Widow has the backup of a player that's able to give her a damage boost like Storm, Mantis, or even Luna Snow, she can become a force to be reckoned with. The damage output she can deal with her scoped attack if she has a damage boost is an instant headshot kill for most duelists. So if you're playing as this character, try and encourage your allies to play somebody that can give you one of those damage boosts. Not every time you hit a target needs to be a kill. Landing damage onto their supports and making them feel unsafe and needing to have them break line of sight from your team can actually be pretty significant. Because of your positioning, you should always be available to be able to turn and shoot at any divers that have gotten onto your backliners. Supporting and protecting your backliners is always an important job of duelists that a lot of sniper-style duelists miss out on the opportunity for. Divers are quite quick, so it can be difficult to follow this up, but making sure that you turn and assist your supports is going to be really important. With this guide, you have a better understanding of how to play Black Widow. In the next video, we're going to talk about the new Vanguard added in Season 2, Emma Frost. She's a control-style Vanguard that does sustained, increasing damage over time the longer she's able to keep her attacks on you. But we'll talk more about that next time.
Sazaze.